All right, Gary, what are we playing this week?
Oh, cool. If you'll follow me into the lobby here, we are at the corporate offices of Ancestry.vg.
Hi, Janice.
Yeah, hey Janice. As you know, Ancestry.com, we trace the lineage of people and anime characters. But now they've opened up a wing that traces the lineage of video games.
Oh, wow. So, like, tracing Mario back to Donkey Kong or Jumpman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So I've asked them to help us out. Here, they're doing a little pro boner work for us, if you know what I mean. And they're going to, they've got this lineage set up, and I'm going to kind of go through the lineage, and at the end, we're going to get to the game that we're going to do this week.
Are we playing Lineage 2 for PC? The MMO?
We could be. It literally could be anything.
Okay.
So I've got this list of games that came before the game we're going to do, and I'm just going to kind of read them off to you.
Okay.
And then we'll get to the final one. Are you ready?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. The Dakota Mandate. The Rowan Accord. The Ashley Parable. The Madeline Conundrum. The Reagan Paradox. The Taylor Conference. The Schuyler Compact. The Sydney Obligation. The Hunter Papers. The Madison Indenture, the Harper Legacy, the Nolan Records, the Logan Depositions, the Gavin Treaties, the Jaden Histories, the Asher Engagement, the Mason Stipulations, the Devon Covenant, the Preston Commission, the Paxton Lineage, the Riley Codex, the Tucker Antiquity, the Tanners of Yesteryear, the Aidyn Chronicles. It ends with the Aidyn Chronicles.
Oh, fuck. Wait, you missed the Nevea lexicon.
I did. Shit. I knew there was some white person name with a word for history and or contract.
Names are so stupid, and I say that as a person with a stupid name.
You got a real stupid white person name going on a little bit. I mean, like, and I do too, but it was like a dumb white person name from yesteryear. So,
yeah, a little bit. Oh well.
All right. Well, I'm a Hunter Butterfield.
Oh man, and I can't even. You used all of them. Fuck.
Yeah, I did it on a hunt. Like I did find every.
Oh, did you go to the census one? Like every year they put that out. That is a fascinating list. It's 1,000 names.
It's a super fascinating list. Yeah. And they just gets real dumb for a little bit.
and I'm Cole Ross, so my name's already stupid. So
yeah. And this is Abject Suffering, the show where we play games chosen by Brandon.
Yeah, by Brandon. So Brandon,
one specific person.
Yeah, this time. Normally we do a randomization from a big list. By big, I mean like pushing 800 now. List of 800 games. Go and choose those randomly. However, Brandon is a Patreon backer, and every month we do one game that is, again, chosen at random, but it is a random person from a certain tier. And Brandon was the winner, and Brandon decided, the Quest 64 episode, that was a thing. Here's something that's worse than that.
Here it is again.
Yeah.
Is it worse? I think it's better.
I think it's
uglier.
Oh, it's uglier and less functional, and the system is not as engaging to me. But
the system is less engaging because the system in Quest 64 is not very engaging.
Nope.
I think this one actually does I think this is complicated on a level that we haven't we just don't get to on the show. Like I think if you read the manual and played this, there's probably good shit in it.
Yeah.
But anyway, who suggested it, and what do they have anything to say about it?
So this was Brandon, like we said. And Brandon, his point boiled down to he played this back in the day when he was a kid, like from front to back, and he thinks it might be worse than Quest 64. So yeah. And I can see that. So this kind of does fall into the Quest 64 thing in the sense that it is a story-driven JRPG-esque kind of thing on a system that didn't really have that. Right? It's weird.
So it's weirdly it's JRPG, but it has a couple of elements of Western RPGs. that I appreciate, that like made me think that if I was locked in a room with this game or locked on an island, like they put up the water locks, I guess, which are actually a thing. Like you can get locked on an island. But if that were to happen, like I probably would have gotten into some of that.
What the fuck are you talking about? A water lock? Are you talking about being blockaded like it's fucking Cuba?
Or though a water lock is like it's
like
essentially
the Erie
a door
Canal?
in the water. Yeah, it's like a thing that you keep people out of your city.
Oh,
putting
okay.
up water locks. But I could get into this if I had to, is my point. Because unlike Quest 64, is that one, there's like a really complicated like equipment inventory system in this game, like where you'd like outfit your individual parts of your body, and it's huge. It's like one of the like bigger game worlds of that generation.
Yeah.
And combat is like optional. Like there aren't random encounters like a JRPG. Like there's just monsters roaming around and you can avoid them if you want to.
I didn't notice that. See, I thought that they were just popping up randomly, but then again,
it starts off like kind of like that, because I mean, I don't blame you. I didn't get very far into this game either. I just
neither did
research, because it's really annoying. Like it's not good or anything.
Yeah.
But I appreciated that about it. Like where it's just like, this is kind of like just a big open world, which I could see like if I was contemporaneous with a Nintendo 64 and didn't have a PC, being kind of into this idea of like, because that's not a thing, right?
No, it's definitely not, and it's very impressive in that way.
Yeah,
there's some stuff about this that is kind of like, oh wow,
yeah, like it's not without interest or merit. Like there's not like I can't think of a console RPG of this vintage that had a really huge kind of world to it, other than ones that were direct to PC ports. Like Might and Magic or something like that. would have a huge open world, but like. There wasn't anything like this on console. This
was developed kind of just specifically for console by the team that did fucking New Tetris.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, they did Tetrisphere, New Tetris, the Flintstones, Big Trouble in Bedrock, and then this.
It seems like there's like a kind of a progression there, because I'm on the record pretty into New Tetris.
Yeah.
This is significantly worse than New Tetris. It does really feel like somebody who has no idea how to make this type of game trying to make this type of game.
Yeah, yeah.
So
this is like any number of Kickstarters.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is me and Derek are the co-op game we're kind of playing. We haven't played it in a couple months because of all the fall that happened to me. But like, we've been playing this game called Sons of Nor,
like the noodle company.
No. Yeah, like it's just about collecting various bouillon cubes.
Yes, you must venture to the garlic parmesan quarter.
Vegetable, but which vegetable?
It might just be salt.
But it like that. It's like a co-op, like open world RPG where terraforming is like the gimmick. And it doesn't look that dissimilar from like a slightly better looking version of this. Like,
right.
The character, but it has that kind of cheap jankiness that this reminds me of.
Yeah. So when I call this, go ahead.
Or I was just going to say, I was going to move us into the incomprehensible opening, but like continue with what you're going, because it's one of the most like poorly structured from a storytelling standpoint openings I've ever seen in a game.
That's funny, because like I was engaged by this.
Really?
Like, I wasn't expecting like this level of like editing, I guess.
No, it's very edited. Yep. Like I'll give it that. Like there are a lot of cuts that don't make any sense.
Right. Like it like I didn't expect an N64 game of this vintage to like do weird parallel storytelling or stuff like this. Yeah. Yes, it's confusing, but it's fast paced enough that I was like, wait a minute, like I'm going to follow this. Like I'm going to take an active interest in keeping up with this, just because I hadn't, like I was expecting Quest 64 where there's just going to be a fucking text scroll about a prophecy.
Yeah.
Like in this, like there are these people looking for this kid who, as he's like running through the forest, and it's cutting back and forth between them.
It's still to me very confusing. Like this chef, I thought this cook was going to be like a character, because like he seems like our point of view character at first, and then they're referring to things that have generalized meanings, but I mean there's gotta be a word for this, where like something has a generalized meaning, but in the dumb piece of fiction you're reading, it's a specific thing.
Oh, it's called.
You're talking about squires.
They're speaking destinies.
Yeah. That's probably what it is. Like it is squire. So it's like squires are a thing. Like I know what a squire is, but I kept getting the sense like, oh, in this world that means something different. Like they're referring to them in plural and not in relationship to knights and stuff. So like a squire has to be a thing.
Yeah.
And then they introduced like they go into the magic character, and the magic character is talking. Like it just felt really clumsy to me. Yeah. But it is cinematic in a way that you don't often see.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yeah. Like I was basically giving this as much of a chance as I gave Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah.
Because at least the proper nouns they were using here were actual fucking words.
That is true. Yeah. It's not making up nonsense.
Yeah.
And I guess so. There's this little mage kid who's running around, and I guess he's been enchanting swords against this knight's will. We got to camp out on these character models for a minute, though.
Oh my gosh!
Did you switch it to high res in the option menu?
No, I did not.
You can make it higher res character models. They don't look better.
They look like fucking Howdy Doody. Like everything looks like a. If you ever go to an antique store and you see like here's a doll or here's a ventriloquist dummy.
Yeah,
they look unsettling in the way that the jesters from Final Fantasy IX were intentionally made to look unsettling.
Yeah. They're just like, it doesn't actually look that dissimilar from the character models in System Shock 2. Like there's kind of these like weird shaped bodies with just faces plastered on them, but the faces were a little bit more detailed.
Yeah.
Like that chef, that permanent expression that he has. That's just, it's really, really unnerving. I just found a Google image searched the game and found for a picture of the chef. And someone named their character Fuck Me, and there's a picture of the knight and the chef, and it says "Fuck me, come out immediately." It's just that chef with that like smile. Like,
yeah, he definitely looks like a D tier Chrono Cross, like playable character.
Yeah. It's like a game full of D tier Chrono Crosses, like no good. Like all the things that should have been cut out of Chrono Cross, all in one game.
No, this is the stuff that didn't make Chrono Cross.
Oh,
it's just the Chrono runoff.
It's like at some point, it's not even like you cook a dish and it's just like, stems and bay leaves. It's just you're not eating the pot.
Hey, you can make some potato peel soup out of that. Come on, man.
But yeah, you don't eat the bay leaves, though.
I know.
That's my point. You throw that shit away. That's what this game is.
I was joking about potato peel soup. Is that a thing?
Oh, I just assumed you're from Cincinnati. I just assumed you ate whatever was put in front of you.
God damn it.
I'm just teasing you.
But yeah, compounding the horror, and the emulator that I was using to play this, it emulated fine. The frame rate was really low, but I assume that was faithful to the source material. However, the texturing was off. So most of the time when you saw a character, their face was fully detailed, fully textured, but their body was just black.
Oh,
so it's either like they were stagehands in some kind of avant-garde show, or they were heads perched atop unfathomable voids. Yep. It's like everybody was that guy who was wearing the black suit and the white gloves from the Jack and Diane video.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Just clapping. Like all of them were just clapping.
The biggest issue with this, as far as it being like a game I would never play, other than that, like it seems like kind of shittily written and everything, is that when you do these combat encounters, no matter how close you are to the enemy you're going to fight, you go into a Parasite Eve and or Quest 64 style combat thing, but they start on the other side of the map. So you always have to take a couple turns getting over there.
Yeah.
Every single time.
It's pretty similar to the problem that the Lunar games have for me, actually. Yeah. Which is you're both at the opposite end and you have to make those moves. And here, when you're fighting rats and stuff, that's not very satisfying. In Lunar, it eventually gets complicated enough where like those opening moves are important. Yeah. So I can only assume, like, given how complicated everything in this game is, that eventually this would step up. But like in the first half hour here, it was unbearable.
Yeah, it was really, it's intolerable. Like I stopped playing it.
And also
got bored and angry.
And also like the move distance was incredibly erratic. Like I'd have one that would span the like half of the battlefield, my first move, and then like right when I thought I was going to close the distance, it would be like exactly halfway. So I don't know if I'm just playing like if there's a piracy detection thing where it just puts me in the middle of Xeno's paradox.
or like there's an action point economy that I don't know that's there.
Yeah, that's not visible.
It's not visible, or it's not really referenced anywhere. That's no good and frustrating. I don't know, man. Like I think that is weird. I kept having moments of like every time I open up the inventory and would fuck around in it and I'd be like, oh, there's like skill use and there's like perks and stuff. And that stuff is like a dog whistle for me.
Yeah.
To like be in like a complicated character progression thing will get me through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
It's just, but I'd never be able to get through the combat. But I was expecting this to be like dumber and worse than Quest 64. And I think it's just more complicated.
That's the thing. And it's more complicated in a way that like its reach exceeds its grasp.
Oh,
So,
totally.
yeah.
But like I generally will like that better than Baby's first like dumb game.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, like which is what Quest 64 is.
Yeah.
Like Quest 64, there's literally nothing to it. Like the magic thing is almost cool until you learn that you just do it over and over and over forever until you die. So.
Yeah. I don't know. Like this is ambitious, which is a thing I will give a thing credit for.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's got that going for it.
I mean, just looking at the story in its time, like it's at least as engaging as fucking like Legend of Dragoon.
Oh yeah.
You know,
this was a dire time for RPGs. Like I was, like during my time when I would, play just any RPG because I was just like, I'm into RPGs. I'm playing Paladin's Quest. I don't give a shit.
I'll play Legacy of Legaia.
Yeah. Who cares? I'll play anything. Just put it in my brain, during that time of bad life decisions for me. Looking back on it, like I would have probably played this and got through it. And looking back on it though, so like all I wanted were more RPGs, and that urge, like that success of Final Fantasy VII, created so much shit. Like there's so many like just like Legend of Dragoon or Drakengard or like there's just like this series
People
of
like Drakengard.
Kinda people do, but I always thought like it's kind of like jokey and like I've played Drakengard. It's really bad.
Yeah.
There's something like Drakengard's not good, guys.
People like it because it leads to Nier.
Oh, yeah, it's a bad game. It's a terrible game. Like Drakengard's unplayable. There's just like a lot of like 32-bit, and then there are a lot of things that like, and this is controversial because I know you like it, and I will preface this by saying I like it too. There were a lot of things like Wild Arms where it's like kind of interesting, but not like Wild Arms is not great. Like it's not a great game. Like it's I have affection for it the same way you do, but it's still like not, if there was like the Hunger Games of 32-bit RPGs, like it wouldn't win.
Yeah.
You
okay.
know?
So all right, Halloween just passed, so let's put this in a candy metaphor. If Final Fantasy VII is Smarties and you think, I like vaguely chalk-like candy, Wild Arms is Necco wafers, and shit like the Aidyn Chronicles is just chalk.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Or Tums.
Yeah.
Like
no, Tums are pretty tasty depending on the flavor.
The house that just gives their kids rolled aids.
Yep. But it's just kind of like, I think that I like JRPGs, but I might just have pica.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just need I might just want to chew on clay while thinking about taffy.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, it is. There are a lot of dumb, bad RPGs that came out during that time. Like,
I don't know. So I said Legend of Legaia, and I was like, okay, who developed that? And actually, it was the same team that went on to develop Wild Arms 2 and 3, both games that I like. So
I spent
weird.
a lot of time playing Legend of Legaia.
Huh?
Not happy about it, but it's true. Like I played a lot of Legend of Legaia.
Yeah.
So. Oof.
Oh my gosh, there was one that I played. I only ever had a demo disc. It was like a PlayStation. Oh man, what was it? Like PlayStation Underground kind of thing. Shadow Madness.
Oh sure, yeah.
That had to this day, I eventually figured out the ogre battle combat system and that it's really not one. But I don't understand what the combat in Shadow Madness is.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I played that game. Along with what is it, like Okage? Yeah, I always see that like in the same kind of in the same, I guess, shelf, like the same place, like getting rid of games from that vintage of PS2.
Yeah. Shadow Madness, that was more of a
Okage.
PS1.
Okage is the Otogi. Is that what I'm thinking of?
Maybe. Okage is the Legend of the Shadow King, and that was actually kind of good. No, Otogi, that's a FromSoft game. That's like FromSoft's it's FromSoft's Ninja Gaiden / Devil May Cry. That's actually really good.
Okage the Shadow King is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So that's not similar at all. What's Okage the Shadow King like?
I might be getting Okage mixed up with Blue Dragon actually in my head.
God damn it! Which is Blue Dragon a From Software game?
No, Blue Dragon is not a From Software game.
Lost Kingdoms is a God. Video games are stupid. Lost Kingdoms is the From Software game.
Yep.
Okay. When you name something, you can literally name it anything. Like, that's the lesson we can take away from here. You don't have to just take two words that sound fantasy and just put them together. Like, you can literally just come up with a really evocative name.
Yep, you can make something sound good, guys.
Yeah, you can really do that. It doesn't have to just be Lost Kingdom, Blue Dragon. At least Shadow Man like sounds cool. But...
Well, wasn't that a comic?
Shadow Man? Oh, yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Let's save that for the Shadow Man cast when PS2 games become emulatable easily.
I just did no, Shadow Man's like a N64 Dreamcast game, PSX. Oh. We could totally do Shadow Man.
Oh, for some reason I thought it was PS2.
Oh, there was it was Shadow Man the Two-Ekant Coming.
Oh,
I just did a Control F on the Aidyn Chronicles webpage. There's no mention of who Aidyn is. Nobody that I saw was named Aidyn. There wasn't a prophecy of Aidyn. Maybe Aidyn is the world that they're in.
I thought Aidyn was the world too.
Aidyn could have been the world.
That was my guess. It was Aidyn was the world.
Yeah.
It's not very good. Yeah, not very good name for the world, I would say.
Oh, Shadow Madness was developed by a company called Craveyard Studios.
Was it a Craveyard? It's not just Crave?
Nope. Okay. Crave Entertainment was the publisher.
Okay, gotcha. So I wonder if they're related though.
Oh yeah, they were.
Because Crave is like at least semi legit. They did like Jade Cocoon, I think, and I have some affection for that game. But like, yeah. Oh, bad era for RPGs.
like bad era, but also one of the most beloved.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like because the stuff that's good from there is good, you know, and some of the stuff even, you know, like it's not just like, oh, it's just Final Fantasy is good. Like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, like, you know, we did Suikoden and stuff. That game's really good.
Yeah,
they're games that
Wild Arms. I will go to bat for Wild Arms any day of the week. Like,
I can't. I don't know if I can go to bat for it. And I played it kind of like recently, and I don't say that to be like, that's not me like argument from experience. That's me saying like I liked it enough to play it relatively recently. Like I played it on PSN. Like I still don't like it. Does a couple of interesting things. Like it's not without merit. Yeah. But I don't think it's a very good overall product. You know, really nice music. Looks good enough. Like some of the puzzles are okay, but it's still, you know, kind of tedious.
Oh wow, Crave did Galarians.
Oh hey, Galarians!
Yeah, I love that.
I've thought about the Galarians in a while. What was that game that was just like the Galarians? Reminded me of Galarian. It was like another kid with psychic powers.
You mean Galarian's Ash?
Yeah, that might have been it. That was Galarian Asher. Galarian Dakota.
Yeah. No, Galarian was spooky. That's a great game.
Galarians is pretty good.
Huh.
We're just talking about other games that we like, or games that the names we think are interesting or not interesting at this point. They just fall into two categories. If a game has a name and we think it's interesting, we'll talk about it. If a game has a name and we don't think it's interesting, that also is marked well for discussion. I guess that says a lot about the Aidyn Chronicles. I feel bad because somebody voted for this, but like there's not that much to say about it other than just that it takes forever to do combat and it's ugly and weirdly kind of ambitious.
So here's what I'll say about it. And people who like Nintendo systems, just go back and listen to me say nice things about Nintendo forever. I think that this would have been a much better Dreamcast or PlayStation 2 game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a reason why there weren't RPGs on Nintendo 64. And like the good one, you know, was not like a 3D, you know, was like had kind of limited graphical power and like a cartoonish art style.
Yeah. Like the good one was only good because they made choices to limit it. Like it's still 3D, but not really in a way that, you know,
it's not polygons.
Yeah.
Like, it's
hinders. It's not 3D in a way that hinders the system.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was the, you know, one of the worst systems in history for RPGs. Like it's terrible.
Yeah.
For that. And like I mean, there are lots of things I like about Nintendo in general. Like I love Nintendo. But that system I think is, I've said it a million times, but it's like it's a system with like 8 good games. Like it's a really like the cream is very limited on that system.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of dumb bad games on the Nintendo 64 and there aren't very many games in general. Right? Like it's that's Nintendo now, which is kind of cool. Like it's fine. But like we're now, prior to Wii, when it was like N64 and GameCube, you would just you'd buy the system for those like 8 good games. And then Wii, it became you were buying a license to play old Nintendo games. So like a Wii or a Wii U is automatically going to be worth it, even like if you don't have a Nintendo system, just for access to virtual console stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so like even though like the Wii has, you know, 20 good games and the Wii U has 10, like it's still going to be worth it because you can play the entire library.
Yeah.
And they look good and they work well.
It just, I don't know. It's kind of like, again, just this weird thing of us doing episodes in pairs. Like last week we talked about the Game Boy Advance. Like at one point I called the Game Boy Advance my favorite system.
It's really like the stuff that's good on it is really good.
But it's very much the same case, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of, except like I think it just had a wider base. Like there are probably more good games I would say there are more good games on the Game Boy Advance than there are on the N64.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, like three or four times, but there are 3 or 4 more times total games as well. So it's a real similar proportion.
Right.
You know? Or at least that's I haven't played every Game Boy Advance game. That's my memory, of spending a lot of time with it. And same thing with N64. Like N64, the memories people have, it's really just like playing one game over and over, I feel like.
Oh yeah, it's GoldenEye.
Like, it's GoldenEye or Mario Kart, or it's Zelda or Mario 64.
Yeah.
That's really it. Every once in a while someone's like, "Oh, Jet Force Gemini." It's like, well, good for you, but take a back seat, Junior, because grown-ups are talking about video games.
Gary, Brandon also recommended Jet Force Gemini of Aidyn Chronicles.
I know he did. I'm teasing. That's why I said that.
Okay, cool.
I'm teasing Brandon. But yeah, it's just there's just not a lot going on there. Whereas like I feel like if I had, off the top of my head is hard because I wasn't prepared to do this. But if you like said like, hey, tomorrow by 9 a.m. Butterfield, give me a report that's like 50 really excellent PS2 games. Like I could do it.
Oh, yeah.
Like no problem at all. And if you were like 100, like I might be able to do that.
It'd be a little bit of a stretch, but like you get a little bit of chaff in there. But like if you account for like personal taste, you could totally do it.
You would get things that were not exclusive. Because like you do 100 games and you'd get like Deus Ex, and you'd get like a lot of games that just came out on everything.
Yeah, but like you can make a case for it too. Like, Deus Ex, isn't it super weird that there was this version of a PC game on this console that was super underpowered? Like,
yeah, well, that and I've said it like 1,000 times, but like that version plays fine. Like you can play the PS2 version of Deus Ex and have a great time. Like it plays fine. It's not the ideal way to do it, but it's worse in the same way that $9 is worse than $10. Like I'll still take your money from you. Like I would like to have $9.
I think you're setting yourself up for failure a little bit with the PS2 one in that case. If you're gonna take Universal games out of the equation, just because that was the one generation where that really started happening.
No, I was saying Universal games could be in it.
Yeah,
I wasn't taking them out of the equation. I was saying
cool.
That, like I could do possibly do 100 because you'd have Universal games or like cross-platform games.
Yeah.
But that would be like, maybe I'll do a backer blog about that. That's kind of like a fun idea. Like if I just go through like a list of, games for a system and be like, these are the ones I think are pretty good, and just kind of, do a percentage over a couple of different generations. And like, obviously it's subjective. It doesn't, there are all kinds of Otogi or Kagi fans or Otogi fans or Lost Dragon fans and stuff. But like
Lost Dragon,
just going like, why? I guarantee that's a game. Like, but it just, yeah. Nintendo 64, man. It's like the place where nostalgia lives and good games went to die. Like this wasn't a thing. But I feel similarly about Dreamcast. Like Dreamcast doesn't have more than 10 good games on it either. So
Gary, The Lost Dragon is the name of a direct-to-video fantasy comedy Tom and Jerry movie. Tom and Jerry: The Lost Dragon.
Huh. Does it have a premise? Do they fight dragons?
Well, it's the movie begins showing the wizard Kaldorf expelling the witch Drizelda from the village.
I guess the Tom and Jerry lore got more complicated when I wasn't paying attention.
Kaldorf allows Drizelda's niece Athena to stay. The elf villagers fear she will turn out like her aunt because she keeps vermin, Jerry, and has an affection for cats, Tom. So these are like the ancestors of Tom and Jerry. This is a village grain mouse and a witch's house cat. And it appears that Drizelda is using Tom and Jerry to help clear her name by having them go and steal the dragon's treasure.
I was not expecting that.
Nope.
That does not sound like something that I would guess would be the plot of a Tom and Jerry cartoon.
Yeah. Well, so we've already projected the Crick mythos out into the future with Crick 2000. Is there a way for us to send him back in time? In a way that is not like total hackneyed, like he's a
Crick a lot.
A little bit, yeah, but I want to do it like I want to do a little bit more like he's a lich, but like a benevolent,
like
lich.
A critch.
Yeah, like a critch. He's like a benevolent critch.
Yeah, he hides his soul in his Horcrux.
Yep. No. And he's got his guards are called the Dudiths with attitudiths, and they wear the spherical helmets.
The dudes of the round table.
Yep, the dudes of the round table, the dudes of the round helmet. And they all have that, and they're walking around with halberds, and I'm just not sure where to take it.
Probably he becomes a dark king and outlaws masturbation.
Mm-hmm.
And then, there are people are going to swamp huts to get witches to JMO. And
with their magic mucus lube. Because witches have developed a spell to give themselves a gland. They're actually a lineage from long ago.
Their armpits produce a slime.
Yeah.
That's not unlike the slime you might find on a newborn baby.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use that to fuck.
Yep, exactly. And there's one young witch.
To gasm.
Yep, to gasm. And there's one young witch girl whose name is Sore Gum, who she's actually half witch. She's a daywalker, and she can infiltrate the kingdom and teach the Critch the ways of love.
Yeah, into it.
Yeah.
Done.
Okay, cool.
Prequel.
Sorry. Yep. Anytime Tom and Jerry comes up, Crick has to as well.
No, there's no reason why we can't just do a Crick for all seasons. Like.
Yeah.
If we ever want to do, because we have at some point our zone month coming up.
Gary, I've been playing my R zone. I don't think that we can get a month out of the R zone.
Well, I mean, we at least do the R zone for an episode, and then we have a guest month at some point we need to do soon. Mm-hmm. But I think we could probably do like Crick pitch, and get a Crick for all seasons, like Cricks throughout time.
Yep.
Like I would like that as an anthology movie, because honestly, like just the fact that Crick doesn't want you to ejaculate doesn't quite fill up 2 hours. Like as a plot point. Like that's edging on a scale that I cannot comprehend.
That's tantric edging.
Yeah, like Crick 2000 tantric edge. Like
oh my gosh, why does that sound like a Matrix comic book that ran for one episode for one issue?
Like, like Crick could be in all kinds of different times and places. It'd be like Turtles in Time, but with Crick.
Yep. And then there's always a man, there's always a dude, and there's always no lube.
There's always a dude, there's always a rad. There's a rad dude. There's always no lube.
There's never a lube.
Yep.
Oh.
Perhaps the truth. I
can feel the enthusiasm leave your body. Like we're 3,000 miles away from each other.
Anywho, Aidyn Chronicles.
Yep. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon. What do we do next time, Cole?
Gary, next time we are doing a game for the DOS that is called Dunjacks.
I'm into that.
Yep.
From the world of bad portmanteaus. Like,
I don't know if this has to do with the Mortal Kombat character or not, but
my guess is no.
Yeah. But this is another one from the Bear Storm. Good. Shortly after the archive.org started having all these DOS games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, great. Mm-hmm. Into that. If you want to suggest a game and have us play it like Brandon did, you can become a patron at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Mm-hmm. You also get a bonus episode of this per month. Mm-hmm. You get that a month early. You get all the shows a day early. There are all kinds of benefits. It is a cool club to be a part of.
Yeah. And we super appreciate everybody who has who has taken the time and given to us. We know that it's not always the easiest thing to do, but if you've made room for us, then we appreciate it.
Yeah, then we will make room for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, swing on by.
Is that the new sign off?
Yep, swing on by. Rate us, review us on iTunes. Use the Amazon referral link at Duckfeed.tv/tip-jar for holiday shopping. Yeah. And I think that's probably about it.
I think so. Thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Who is Zoo Dog?
Swing on by.